everyone. My name is Baylan Megino, and welcome to Global Dreammaker Summit Convergence, the Leadership Summit in spring 2022. I am absolutely honored to welcome our next guest, Dr. Richard Kaye. Let me tell you a bit about him. Dr. Kaye received his Bachelor of Science degree in business from Long Island University in 1973. He went on to receive his Doctorate of Chiropractic from the Columbia Institute of Chiropractic in New York. After 30 years in private practice in San Diego, he retired to pursue an entrepreneurial life. For the past 23 years, he's worked with CEO Space, the world's oldest and largest business development organization, assisting entrepreneurs to accelerate the growth of their businesses. Dr. Kaye has been featured on KTLA television, Los Angeles, California, on several occasions, discussing two of his specialties, team building and super networking. That's how I met him. He was also featured in a PBS show, a special about him. He's appeared on numerous television and radio shows. He has authored myriad articles. Dr. Kaye is an internationally acclaimed lecturer. Okay. Dr. Kaye is an sorry, do it again.
Okay, as long as you're pausing, your audio and video are not synced.
Yeah, it's been doing that lately. It's the time of day everybody's on.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and again, as long as I'm going to repost what I posted because there was a spelling error in there. So just if you, okay.
It's internationally, right?
For the
Lecturer.
well, maybe I did correct it. Okay, I'm sorry. Keep going. You're good.
It's okay. He's appeared on numerous television and radio shows. He's authored myriad articles. Dr. Kaye is an internationally acclaimed lecturer, having presented seminars and workshops in Australia, France, Japan, and Russia, as well as in the United States. He's also a faculty member of CEO Space. He's the author, excuse me, he is the author of The Secrets of Creating Customers for Life and speaks around the nation about the secrets of empowering negotiation. Richard resides in Taos, New Mexico. Welcome, Dr. Richard.
Hey, fun to be here. Thanks for the invitation to play in your sandbox.
So pleased to have you. So pleased to have you. So why don't we just jump right on in here? We have leaders listening in wanting to find out, how did you come to the kind of work that you're focusing on now?
Wow. My first incarnation this lifetime, Baylan, I was an electronics engineer. And at one of my companies, not my company where I was working for, we were doing government contracting. And it's interesting, I didn't know what I was doing as far as negotiation back then. I was living in Long Island, New York, and I just did what I thought most people do. Most of us never learn how to negotiate. So that's what I was doing, seat in my pants. And government contracting, negotiating with vendors, negotiating with the government, very interesting. I graduated with my BS degree in business management from Long Island University, New York University system, and then went to chiropractic school and gotten my MGB, drove, most people don't even know what that is, a four-cylinder, wonderful sports car. Drove from New York to San Diego, opened up a practice. And back in the early days, for the first 15 years, I did what's called med legal, which means personal injury, workers' comp. The law was involved. So here I am now negotiating with insurance companies, negotiating with vendors, negotiating with patients to come in. You need more care, and negotiating in courtrooms. Well, the second half of my practice, I changed to quality of life, did something called network spinal, which is about quality of life. And it was a cash practice, no more insurance garbage, because you're responsible for your own health. and still negotiating with people for their bills. This is, this is a different world. Then I was introduced to an organization named CEO Space, and it's been cited by Forbes and Inc. as the world's #1 leading business growth conference. My practice doubled over 9 months. And Baylan, I was famous when I was practicing in San Diego. What does that mean? It means 6:30 news, morning television talk show for about a year, multiple stories in the newspaper, San Diego Tribune, Los Angeles Times, PBS special, as you said. And my practice doubled. So I slowly began working with the company. And a few years later, I just shut the practice. I retired. I live in Taos, New Mexico now. I already owned 80 acres here. And I drove out, retired, and I've been working with entrepreneurs ever since. So there are two aspects. One is helping people grow their businesses, and everything you do in your life is a negotiation. So I learned it. I've taken myriad programs and courses and incorporated it into my life. And now I have the privilege of sharing it with others, how to negotiate so everybody wins.
People say that marketing and sales, that everybody does marketing and sales, but the part that you have to go to beyond that is the negotiation of the sale, right? And that's the part that a lot of people feel so uncomfortable about. They really feel uncomfortable about the thought of a sale. They have all kinds of old ways of thinking of doing it. That's why I'm so really looking forward to what you have to share about empowering negotiating. So I know you have some wonderful things to share with us, some brilliance that you are bringing to our audience, and I'm going to just mute myself and listen in. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The reason most people, I was teaching a program yesterday, and a woman said to me, I don't know how to go negotiate. I asked her, did you ever learn? And it's like a deer in the headlights. So again, most of us don't know how. Most negotiation, people can, what's the worst kind of negotiation you can think of, Baylan? A car salesman?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Does it get much worse? Not really. And that model has changed. The model has changed so much, because most car salespeople today, at least the ones that I've met, are honest, ethical, and they want to do the best for everybody. And I'm reminded of a time a couple of years ago when I needed to buy a new car. My Jeep Grand Cherokee died and I needed a new one. So I went to the Lexus dealer, picked out a car. And the inevitable thing is you're sitting with the sales lady and she makes me an offer and I make a counter offer. What does she do? She goes into the finance manager office. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever bought a car, you know this exercise. And she comes back and says, well, here's what he's willing to do. And I looked at her and I said, Ann, this is ridiculous. I got up and she followed me into the financial guy's office. And I said, listen, I'm not willing to play this game with you. Here's what I'm willing to offer. Do we have a deal or not? He looked at her, looked at me. Yeah, we have a deal. Okay. They know what they can sell the car for. And I'm not picking on car salespeople, but it is a game. When there was some car manufacturer, I don't remember, but they said, sticker price is what it is. There's no negotiation. Nonsense. I can tell you I've negotiated in Best Buy back in the days when I used to be on stage and teaching on stage and wearing a suit. I've negotiated in Nordstrom's. Everything is negotiable, Baylan. And ladies and gentlemen, everything you do is negotiation. I promise you, I know the first negotiation you have with yourself every single morning. When you get up, whether it's because the alarm clock says, get up, I got to go to work, or you live a lifestyle, you get up when you're done sleeping, which is much more enjoyable. You negotiate with yourself. Am I going to stay here under the covers, or am I going to get up, get out of bed? That's the way your day begins. So it's that simple. Negotiation. You and I, now you invited me to be here, and I'm honored and thrilled to do that. There was a negotiation as to the timeline. What works for you? What works for me? We don't always perceive things as negotiation. I don't know if you know, there's construction going on outside. Somebody negotiated to have their roof repaired. Now, whether they called a contractor and the contractor offered them a price, we don't know that because not involved in that. You get your car repaired. You buy something new. You know who the best negotiators are, Baylan? Kids. Why are they the best negotiators? What's the one word that they do not accept? No. All right. Yeah, they don't accept the word no. They keep going. I don't know if you have kids or not, but if you do, you know that to be so. You were a kid once, I suspect. Mom, Dad, can I? Leave me alone. Can I? Okay, have it. Is it the most effective negotiation? It is for the kid because they get what they want. So does that give you some clue, some insight into what negotiation is about? Most people don't perceive that they negotiate.
You reminded me of my mother saying to people, whatever she wants, when she wants something, she gets it.
Yeah. And if you were doing that at an age that you can recall, it's because you were persistent. And the persistence, by the way, does it always pay off? Sometimes. Some people get pissed off when you're persistent and they say, go away. I live, as I said, in Taos, New Mexico. It's a very art community. There's no commercial stuff here, no smokestacks. Tallest building is 2 stories high by zoning. And I walked into a gallery and there's this huge, probably 5x8. I'm looking at this, see, 5x8 painting on the wall. Stunning. I had a couple of wolves that have long since gone, and it was a woman of a picture of a goddess with her wolves, and it's like, whoa. And I'm captivated by it. And this woman walks over and asks me about the painting. So now she's engaging me in conversation, which you must do for any kind of sale, unless it's a click on Amazon. And it's got a price tag of $10,000. And I said, nah, a little out of my range. She said, well, I can give it to you for $8. I'm the owner of the gallery and I'm actually the artist. I mean, that's a negotiation. I didn't even ask her. I just said I wasn't in the market for that kind of painting at this time. She immediately made an offer. Now, when you're dealing with an individual, it's much easier. There are language sets, there are programs. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tease you just a little bit because later on, I'm going to give you the opportunity to download 5 secrets or 5 tips from the Secrets of Empowering Negotiation. It's a very powerful program. There are 44 segments to the whole program. I'm going to give you 5 of them just for clicking on a button and saying, yeah, I'd like to read this. The whole program, it's powerful, it's practical, and it's profitable because whether you negotiate, are we there yet? Yeah, we're right here. And you watch their minds go, huh? Oh, we're right here. But you did that, I did that. We're in the car, in the family car or a train or wherever we're going. Are we there yet? My fiance, Angel, told me the other day that her kids used to ask her, are we closer to where we're going or Disneyland? And the answer to that is yes, whatever the question. So just some insights. And if you approach negotiation as a game, assuming we're not in a life or death situation, always be prepared to accept the answer you don't want, which is no. I had my before that Jeep died, I had some major work done on it. And it was about, I don't know, 1,500 bucks. And the language I used, I asked the guy, actually what I asked him was, what's the best price you can do on this? And let's say that it was 1,450. And he said, 1,450. I said, okay, here's my credit card. You must be prepared to take no for an answer. Baylan, what was a negotiation experience that you had that was either fun or devastating? What was the experience?
Oh gosh, the one that comes to mind was with my second husband when I helped him to build the business from what I say, a guy in his truck to 13 employees and over a
Wow.
million in sales. And we were not married at the time, and he decided to incorporate. And when he incorporated, by then we were married. So when he incorporated, he issued all of the shares in his name.
Yeah,
I wasn't there.
not
So
good.
I was not happy. And he said, go talk to the lawyer. And so I thought, really? He didn't want to negotiate with me. So I went and talked to the lawyer, and the lawyer said, I can't do anything about it. This is the way that he wants it. He says, and he knows that we're in a California, we're in a community property state, and everything that's his is yours anyway. For
Until
me, it wasn't
until
so
the
much.
divorce.
It wasn't so much that. It was really more the acknowledgement of what I had done and my part in building the business to where it was worth being incorporated, right? To just sweep that under the rug was not a good thing. So the negotiations almost didn't even really happen.
And I can only imagine how dishonored you felt, because you built it, you helped him build it,
Mhm.
and there was no acknowledgement. And your introduction of that story was your ex-husband.
Yes.
So, yeah. And we would like to believe that at least in that kind of scenario, there would have been some discussion about it. And you don't need to tell us, but I would like to believe that after the divorce, you got your just share of that. It's and law is a fascinating thing. Quite frankly, I sued Hewlett Packard recently. Details are unimportant. I lost in what would be called civil court, so I took it to the next court. I requested a jury trial because I know I would have won in jury, but it was COVID, so it was a bench trial. And I lost the suit, and I realized I had what was right, but they had the law, and quoted this citation law. So law is very interesting. Say I was married to an attorney. If one thing I learned was never marry an attorney. And yet I mentioned this property that I'm selling. I will use his services. We're still friendly to write up the sales contract. And that's a wonderful example of no negotiation possible, but the overriding, yes, I had a divorce in California, so I know it's community property and it's split down the middle. And no matter, no, I mean, you can't go to American Airlines or Southwest Airlines and say, I'd like to negotiate a price on a ticket. But I did say that I've negotiated in Best Buy and came away with, before we moved out here, she was an avid football fan. We used to have season tickets to the Chargers. There was no negotiation where she went and bought them, but that was good. San Diego Chargers back then. And when we moved out here, we knew we weren't going to go and fly back and watch the games. So she wanted to buy a 55-inch television. And those are the days when those are multiple thousands, many thousands of dollars. And I used some language which you can learn from some of the tips that you have the ability to download. And I got hundreds of dollars worth of peripherals, because what he said was, I can't discount the television because there's so little markup on it. He says, but I can give you this and this and this. I said, okay. So I don't remember the exact numbers, but I do remember it was hundreds of dollars on a, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000 purchase. The biggest challenge, I'll give you an example, Baylan. Many years ago, most people in my experience think that there's one thing to negotiate, and that's price. You start here, you go here, and you wind up somewhere near the middle. I was seeking a new office manager. This is a long, long time ago, decades ago. And I put an ad in the paper, and a young lady called me. After she told me why she was calling, she said, "What are you offering?" When I said it was a long time ago, I said, "Well, I'm offering $1,000 a month." She said, "Great. I'll ask for $2,000. We can settle on $1,500. When can I come in?" Excuse me. In a second. That's how most people perceive a negotiation. Another story can go on with that. I was living in San Diego, I was like 30 minutes north of Tijuana. Tijuana, the culture is one of handling or negotiating. Everything is negotiable in Tijuana. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you this story so that you understand that you must always maintain sight of your desired outcome. What do you want? So Arlene and I went down to Tijuana, and we saw a wonderful wrought iron plant rack that we knew exactly where it would go in the kitchen. And the guy says, $20. Typical in Tijuana, I said 10, 19, 11. And we get to the point where, I kid you not, it's 1550 and 1575. 1550, 1575. This, I don't know how long this went on. Arlene finally gives me a nudge and says, "Give him the frickin' quarter. It doesn't matter." I mean, the thing was worth $20 to me. I had lost sight of the goal. So again, ladies and gentlemen, what is your desire? Did I really care if it was $20 or 10? Didn't matter. If you forget your goal, you're going to get screwed in a negotiation. When you are intransigent because your ego, and that's all it was, 25 cents, who cares? Your ego gets satisfied. And I assert you can have the relationship or be right. You can have the deal, the contract, or be right. What do you want to do? Everything you do, and you've heard me say this a number of times, everything you do is a negotiation. You go out to dinner with a friend or a partner. Where are we going to go? What time are we going to go? Where are we going to meet? Again, you're negotiating with yourself. What are you going to have for dinner? Am I going to eat healthy and have a green drink, or indulge and have, something that's tasty? I know some of you think green drinks are tasty. That's not my thing. So what else would you like to know, Baylan? What is your burning question about negotiation?
Well, you touched on several points. I know that one of the questions I have, well, one of the issues I'd like to hear your feedback on is the issue of value, because it's not just the money, it's the value that you will be receiving, and then also that issue that you just spoke of ego. That I run into so many people, they negotiate just to negotiate. They don't care if they win or not. They just want to negotiate, and they'll negotiate until you stop, right?
Like a little kid.
Oh, but it wears you down, and it makes you feel bad. It really makes you feel bad.
It does. And there's a segment in the program, the title of which is Know When to Hold Them and Know When to Fold. And you're speaking exactly to that issue. And let's use that wrought iron plant rack. Would I have been willing to walk away from it? No, I wanted it. And I lost sight. When you're negotiating with someone, this is a segment, though it's an audio segment, but we're video here, so I can say that. There's a segment called flinching. When someone makes you an offer that is so totally absurd, you flinch. Really? and I'm a chiropractor, don't hurt your neck, you don't go too far, but you physically recoil. Really? And then you do the thing that most human beings have the most challenge doing. You stop talking. You go into silence, and the other person feels obligated to defend their posture. When it's something you must have, is the angst, is the grief worth it? And again, it's 25 cents for that wrought iron thing. But it was a game. So what, and this is rhetorical, but what must you have that you're willing to engage that other person who can be very obnoxious? You know, in a kid, it's cute. In adults, it's obnoxious. Same behavior, the persistent broken record thing. So when, I mean, if I had decided that that thing was, that beautiful painting, $10,000 was worth it to me, I probably, well, that's the probably, I would have asked her how we can do this. She never asked me, she just offered. When you decide what you want to do, and that means be right, and I know this is what I said, or have the deal, whether it's with a partner or business, it gives you a different perspective. Now, here's a key point of every negotiation. Step over to the other person's side. Ask them, what do you want? What do you want out of this? When I coach as a business strategist, business growth strategist, I ask people, I had a client on the phone yesterday. One of my first questions is, what do you want out of this conference? We have an hour. What do you want to come away with? I must know her outcome. You, Baylan, and everyone listening and watching, you must know the prospect's desired outcome. And again, when we remove money from the conversation, because that's not the only thing. Angel, again, my fiance and I were looking at we were looking to buy some sofas the other day, and they had a gorgeous piece and then a love seat. And we wanted both sofas, the 8-foot sofas, because that's what fits. They couldn't, well, she could provide it. She said it would take 6 to 8 months because of what this crazy economy is about. So we passed on it. We didn't even make an offer on the price because we didn't want to wait 6 months for another sofa to arrive. If it had only been price, we would have made the offer and had them deliver it, which now evokes something else. Delivery time is negotiable. If she had said a month, okay, we probably would have done that. If she had said next week, we definitely would have done that. Then we would have gotten into the conversation about the price. The price became absolutely unimportant because it didn't meet what we had the desire for. So the overarching thing, again, Baylan, is what do you want? Manufacturing, delivery time, quality, quantity. You can, everything steps out into negotiation. What other questions have? What's been your experience with negotiation that you feel free to talk about? And let's take a deep dive at it.
Well, let's see. Mine, well, you're right. I mean, we're negotiating everything every day.
Yes.
And I think my question is, people hear about making sure that it's a win-win situation for everyone, or a win-win-win, right? So that ultimately the client that everybody's serving also is winning. Um, how I how do people make the shift, the internal mental shift, and even going further back from that, the internal shift within themselves, so that they want to win. They want everybody else. They want everybody else to win. Not that they're looking. Not that their mind is saying, "Okay, are all the ducks all in a row?" It's really, I win because they win.
I love the question. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if you have heard me teach other places. Let me get my phone out of there so when it beeps, we don't hear it. And I'm going to take most people look at negotiation as I win, you lose. Many people are beginning to look at I win and you win. That's a level 2 of negotiation. And you invoke beautifully level 3. I win, you win, and our cohort win. I invite you to step into a level 4 awareness of negotiation, and even bigger, a level 4 evaluation of life. And what's that? I win, you win, our cohort wins, and humanity wins. Everybody wins. I have absolute certainty, all this crap that's going on in the world, left, right, war, those things would not be happening if we made decisions based on the planet and all of humanity. So how do you get there? Every single war, other than in eons ago when it was, religious war, every single war has been fought over one thing, and that's oil. That's what's going on in the Ukraine right now. Russia wants the Ukrainian oil. And today I just read that they're turning off gas to, I don't know where, because I don't deep dive in that crap. It's not enlightening and enlivening. It comes from scarcity. It comes from lack. It comes from saying, I don't have enough. So I have to win so you lose, so I can go and have everything I want. I mean, how many people live in that? How many people live in such financial abundance, not going into this Twitter stuff, that they buy anything they want, regardless of anything else that's going on? And here's a conversation that I was privy to the other day. It's fascinating to me. I don't want to invest in oil and gas because it's polluting the planet. I want to give my money to green organizations. Well, here's what that conversation was about, and it's brand new to me, and it blew my mind. What if you could invest in oil and gas and make enough money, and now you can support those green ventures to a much higher level? Because investing in the green ventures doesn't return a high return on investment. Oil and gas does. So now you're investing in companies that are green, that are doing hemp and almond milk instead of dairy, and all the things that support the consciousness and the vibration on the planet. So again, your question was so beautifully timed because of the conversation that I just had the other day. It's about doing things on a much larger picture. And here's something to take a perspective on, ladies and gentlemen. The Talmud says we don't view the world as we are. We don't view the world as it is. We view it through our own lens. We view it as we are. So if you're looking at someone, you say she's nasty or he's nasty and he's mean, that's a reflection of parts of you. We may not like it, but what part of that is you? There's a statement that came out many years ago. What would love do in this situation? I'm not saying love everybody. It's a nice new age thing. It's not practical. But what would happen if you viewed someone, you don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know why they're nasty, particularly today. Maybe she just found out her spouse put all the stock in his name. That would shadow your day. And you were probably not happy for a while. And here's something else. What we know through biochemistry is the physiology, the biochemistry, Baylan, of an emotion lasts 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Anything beyond that is the concept of the emotion. I'm going to say that again because it's like, really? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're pissed at your former lover, spouse, for something they did 7 years ago or last week, it's not real. You have the story around it. So my invitation to you is, and Ram Dass said it so beautifully, be here now. Step into where you are now. Whatever happened to you yesterday, it's not happening now. Oh, it may have repercussions, certainly, but the emotion is gone. It's the story around it. It's your perception. How much different would life be if we were all here now? You know, yeah, someone pissed you off some time ago. By the way, no one can piss you off. You can be upset because of something they did or said, but that's their stuff. What part of you does it evoke? Now, what has this got to do with negotiation? It's that negotiation with yourself again.
Well, it's really acknowledging that after those 90 to 120 seconds, it's a choice.
Yes, it's a choice. Ladies and gentlemen, what kind of choices do you want to make about your life? Many of you, I know, Baylan, you have maybe been, we burned in divorces and things that happen. And yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm selling this land that I'm talking about that I own out here, 20 acres I still have left. And I will use my former wife as the attorney to do the documents. I also refer to her as former wife, not ex-wife. There's an energy around an ex, like an ex-con. My former wife. We had a relationship once. It was wonderful, and it didn't serve a purpose for either of us. So, and Baylan, you said it, and I said it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're still carrying that anger at somebody, why? Does it serve you? Does it color your life? And we didn't even get to talk about business building. We're just talking about life. So it's a different conversation.
Well, it really, does it serve you? Does it serve how you're thinking as you are creating your business, your relationships, your life?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And does it serve the bigger picture?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to create a business, by the way, that's what I've been doing for 24 years, is helping people accelerate the growth of their businesses. What's the purpose of your business? The prevailing model today is the business serves one purpose, and that's to pay the investors. Look where it's gotten us. Is that working? When you step into the larger culture, and by the way, yes, that is still a purpose of a business. Otherwise, you don't have a business. And we all saw that in COVID. God knows how many businesses went out because they couldn't pay themselves. And most of the people I work with are small businesses, micro 1 to 10 employees, and all the way up to Fortune companies, well into revenue. So what's the purpose for your business? If it's just to pay the bills, it's the wrong purpose. It's the wrong purpose. You've got to serve a larger picture. And that also comes, get out of scarcity. If you live in scarcity, there is never enough. And it's not the accomplishment or the attainment of the goal. Baylan, I used to be a distance runner when I lived in San Diego, taught the marathon clinic in San Diego, Mission Bay. And so many people, myself included, when you cross the finish line, ladies and gentlemen, when you accomplish a goal, you get the title, you get the big check, you cross the finish line in a distance race. Well, that's nice. Now what? It's who you have to be to accomplish that. It's so much more. Bob Proctor was on our stage at CEO Space. And if those of you who knew him, he died a couple of months ago. And CEO Space, according to Forbes and Inc., is the #1 business conference on the planet. He said, this is not a business conference. And I think even the air conditioning turned off. It got so quiet. He said, no, this is a personal growth conference. This is who you have to be, or who do you have to be to show up and network. Now, he didn't say this, but to network and have a meal with Bob, or the guy who founded Constant Contact and sold it for 1.1 billion. Who do you have to be in your life to cross that finish line? It doesn't happen like that. It takes time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that is really at the heart of this entire summit, Richard. It's really, who are we being now?
Yes.
Because who we were last year or even a few months ago, it has shifted exponentially. And we have to find new ways. Some of them, the way that people are, right? Who we are and how it is, how we are human beings, that hasn't changed. But how we interact with each other and how we take, what I do in the Dream Maker Matrix is your work that you do in the world, that thing that provides the win-win-win-win, right? Starts with you. And it's your inspiration that then becomes your expression in your work.
Beautiful way of saying that. Yes.
Yeah. And I had a woman going through my workshop a little while ago, and we go all the way out to what is your legacy in each of your
Mhm.
areas, right? And she said, and we were talking about her work, and she said, I never thought of it that way, but it made everything snap into place.
Yes. Yes, it does. No, we have a gift for the viewers, and I want to offer them something else. I'm just going to put this in here for you.
Yes,
Um,
please.
that some of you may want to have a conversation about negotiation or growing your business. And I just posted in here a calendar link, set up a time to talk. And it's what I do. Having retired from a wonderful career and now serving entrepreneurs in so many different levels. I mean, we could talk for hours about some of the other opportunities. Uh, but I know we're on a timeline here. And ladies and gentlemen, it's just easy. Baylan will put a link in and you get in touch. And we'll explore, among other things, what has to happen to bridge the gap between where you are in business and where you can be. I've been doing that for 24 years. It's fun. It's fun. I was say, seeing people light up and smile. I was coaching the woman I mentioned, I had a private client yesterday, and about halfway through, I said, I would love to see you smile more. And she kind of went, I said, okay, at the end of the call, I said, next call, you're going to smile. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. It sounds cliche, but it's true. And if you go around, we've all said, I'm really happy. Well, would you let your face know? You can't fake it. Or people who smile and it's like, it never reaches their eyes. Embrace, you're alive, you're breathing in spite of what's going on in this world. You're here. And I love what you talked about, coaching your clients on leaving a legacy. It ain't just money. How are you transforming the world? What legacy do you want to leave for your kids? And if you don't have them, what legacy do you want to leave for humanity? So love to hear you say that. That's beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. You know what, Richard? People can follow you, right? They can follow you on. Are you on Instagram? Are you on Facebook?
I'm not on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. Richard Kaye, RICHARDKAYE. Reach out and set a time for us to talk. We'll explore. I'm not a big social use person. Uh, Still enjoy the phone, even though it's on the floor now, and enjoy talking with people one-on-one and one-on-many, and working with people to improve the quality of your life. And when Baylan posts the free links to the negotiation, you're going to have fun. You're going to have fun. And life is meant to be lived. Someone much more profound in the statement than I is, too many people die without ever having lived, they said. Live life to its fullest. Enjoy it. And if you don't have a relationship, you do. You have a relationship with yourself. Build it and fall in love with yourself. It'll change everything you do.
And I think we will end with that one. I love that one. Yes, yes. So I do encourage everyone to get onto his calendar. Richard is a wonderful person to talk with, um, a resource for so many connections. And really, I know that when I talked to him the first time, from the very first sentence he said, he really made me think about my business and about what I'm doing really clearly. How am I serving? How am I serving? So thank you, Richard. I'm going
Thanks.
to ask you one more question.
Sure.
Okay, so, um, and this is a question I ask all of my speakers, and I am looking forward to hearing your answer. If you could speak to all the leaders in the world, all of them, and you knew that they would listen to what you had to say and possibly even act on it, what would you tell them?
It's an old saying, treat people the way you like to be treated. No, treat them better than you would like to be treated. See them as souls, not the person. I have a t-shirt that says, this is only my bodysuit. Okay. See the soul. And I wore it at a retreat I was at. It was a healing retreat. Oh, people take a look at it. See the soul. We're all just souls hanging out here in these physical bodies. You don't know what their story is. You don't have to love them, but at least like them. Love the soul. That's it. Love the soul. Sometimes the outside isn't that nice, but just see the soul. It'll change the way you view everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Baylan.
Mhm. So we have been speaking with Richard Kaye, can be found at richardkaye.com and at CEO Space and many other places. Uh, Make sure you get onto his calendar. This has been Baylan Megino and Global Dream Makers at the Global Dream Makers Summit, Spring 2022. Our leadership about convergence. Convergence, how to get spirit, heart, mind, body, and purpose together so that we can all thrive and prosper. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.